Have you ever felt betrayed by someone you deeply loved? The pain of betrayal can be devastating, but what if I told you that this pain could be the key to discovering an inner strength you never imagined? In moments of betrayal, we are faced with the choice of succumbing to the pain or seeking a path of self-discovery and transformation. The idea that betrayal can force us to look inward and find our true strength is counterintuitive, but it is from this inner reflection that we find true healing and resilience. Are you ready to turn pain into power? Let's explore together how facing this pain can reveal an inner strength you never knew you possessed.
Bella was radiant in her white dress, which fit her body perfectly. The hall was decorated with white and lilac flowers, while the guests shared laughter and whispers, and soft music filled the air. She was surrounded by friends and family, all appearing happy and excited for the upcoming celebration. However, deep in her heart, an uneasiness was slowly growing. Something didn't feel right, but she couldn't identify what it was. "Bella, you look stunning," exclaimed her sister, Clara interrupting her thoughts. She adjusted the bride's veil and smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "David is an amazing guy. You two are going to be so happy together." "Thank you, Clara," Bella replied, trying to smile, but the tension in her shoulders seemed to increase with each passing moment. "I just hope everything goes well today." "Of course it will. You have nothing to worry about." Clara winked, moving away to join a group of friends who were laughing cheerfully. Bella watched as they enjoyed themselves, but her gaze got lost for a moment toward the entrance. David, her fiancé, was chatting with some friends, his confident smile and charismatic presence always captivating. However, something in his gaze made her stomach turn. The day passed in a blur of activities, laughter, and conversations, but the uneasiness persisted. That night, during the bachelorette party, Bella was surrounded by laughter and music, but her eyes were fixed on a corner of the room. It was there that she found Rachel and David, laughing together in a way that made her heart tighten. They exchanged knowing looks, and Bella couldn't help but feel the tingle of worry that took hold of her. "Hey, Bella, come dance!" shouted a friend, pulling her to the center of the dance floor. Bella tried to let go, but the image of Rachel and David still haunted her. "You're so distracted. What's going on?" "I'm just a little tired," Bella responded, forcing a smile. What was this? A premonition, a little voice in her head that wouldn't let her rest. She decided to ignore it, diving into the music and laughter. But the image of David and Rachel wouldn't leave her mind. Throughout the night, Bella couldn't help but cast furtive glances in their direction. The way they looked at each other, the way David tilted his head and laughed at what Rachel said. A knot formed in her stomach, and she felt the joy of the party slipping away, giving way to an abyss of doubts. On the day of the wedding, the sun shone brightly, and Bella was about to take one of the most important steps of her life. But as she got ready, a heavy premonition followed her. Her friend Clara entered the room, looking at her with an encouraging smile. "Everything's ready. You're going to be great." "Thanks, Clara, but I feel like something isn't right," Bella admitted, looking at her reflection in the mirror. The white dress seemed to glow, but happiness felt distant. "It's normal to feel a little nervous before the big day. Everything will be fine," Clara assured her, but Bella's voice was distant. After the ceremony, the festive atmosphere took over, but as she danced with David, the uneasiness returned with full force. What was wrong with her? That night, when she retreated to the bathroom, her eyes fell on David's phone, which was left on the table. An impulse made her pick up the device, and when she opened the screen, messages from Rachel jumped out at her. Sweet and intimate words, promises that should have been made only between her and David. Bella's heart raced, and reality fell on her like an unbearable weight. "How can this be happening?" she murmured, feeling the world around her crumble. With trembling hands, she left the phone on the table and fled the party, tears filling her eyes. The pain was overwhelming, and she realized she couldn't stay there any longer. The betrayal by her best friend and her fiancé hit her like a blow, and she needed a space where she could think, where the pain could be transformed into something else. Bella decided she needed to get away, to find a place where she could heal and rediscover herself. The ranch in Colorado seemed to be the answer. What was once just a distant idea now became an urgent necessity. She didn't know what awaited her, but she was determined to find a way to turn her pain into strength. Bella drove down the dirt road that led to the ranch in Colorado, the majestic mountains rising in the background, surrounded by lush vegetation that seemed to vibrate in the sunlight. The landscape was breathtaking, but it couldn't quell the storm forming in her heart. The young entrepreneur felt like a castaway on a deserted island, lost and confused, searching for meaning amidst the pain that had accompanied her since discovering the betrayal. When she finally arrived at the ranch, a secluded and tranquil place, Bella got out of the car and took a deep breath, trying to calm down. The fresh, pure air of the countryside was a relief, but the loneliness enveloped her like a heavy blanket. She looked around, observing the green fields stretching as far as the eye could see. This is where I'll find peace, she thought, though insecurity still consumed her. As she walked toward the house, Bella couldn't help but notice the rusticity of the place. The ranch was simple, but had a special charm. The wooden walls were weathered by time, and the smell of damp earth mixed with the aroma of wildflowers growing haphazardly around. The young woman hesitated at the entrance, feeling like an intruder in those surroundings. It was then that Hank, the ranch's owner, appeared. He was a middle-aged man with gray hair and a welcoming smile that conveyed a sense of security. "Hello, you must be Bella. Welcome," he said, extending his hand. "I'm Hank." "Thank you, Hank," Bella replied, shaking his hand with a slight tremor. "It's a pleasure to be here, even though I'm still trying to find myself." Hank noticed the sadness in her eyes and, with an understanding look, said, "You don't need to worry about finding yourself right away. Sometimes nature has its own ways of helping us heal. Come, I'll show you around." As they walked, he began talking about life on the ranch, sharing stories about the seasons and the challenges of farming. "Working the land is a form of therapy. Did you know that?" Hank commented as the two passed by a small orchard. "Embracing the cycles of nature can teach a lot about patience and resilience." "I never thought of it that way," Bella replied, feeling a spark of curiosity awaken within her. "I think I just want to get away from it all. The city, the people, everything reminds me of what happened." "I understand. Sometimes the best remedy is to disconnect and rediscover what truly matters," said Hank, stopping to look at her. "And what matters can be as simple as planting a seed and watching it grow." Bella smiled, feeling a bit lighter. "Do you really believe that?" "Absolutely," Hank affirmed, looking into her eyes. "Nature has a way of teaching us to start over. If you want, you can work with me on the farm. It's a great way to distract yourself and, who knows, maybe even find a new purpose." She hesitated for a moment, but the idea of getting involved with the land and learning something new began to seem appealing. "I think I need something like that. I'm not sure what I'm doing here, but working on the farm might be a good start." "Great. Tomorrow, we'll start with planting. Bring your boots and be ready to get dirty," he said, winking at her. Bella smiled, feeling a spark of hope. "I'll make sure to bring the boots. And who knows, maybe I really can find something good here." Hank nodded, satisfied. "Believe me, Bella, the countryside can be a place of healing. Let's work together and see where it takes us." Hearing his words, Bella felt that, perhaps, in that vast expanse of land and sky, there was a chance to rediscover joy in the small things, something she seemed to have lost a long time ago. The days passed slowly at the ranch, and Bella threw herself into farm work with a dedication that surprised her. Each sunrise brought with it the opportunity to learn something new, and gradually, the young entrepreneur began to reconnect with the essence of life. As the sun rose on the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, Bella found herself tending to the vegetable beds Hank had taught her to cultivate. The fresh, moist earth felt invigorating under her hands, and with each plant that sprouted, a small joy blossomed in her heart. "You have a natural talent for this, Bella," Hank said one day, as he watched the young woman with a satisfied smile. "The earth responds to your energy. It's as if it's healing along with you." Bella smiled shyly, still unable to believe that she could have a talent in something so simple, yet so profound. "I think I'm learning to listen to the earth, Hank. Every day is a new lesson." "That's right. Life is full of lessons if we're willing to listen to them," Hank replied, as he crouched down to check on some seedlings. And remember, resilience is like a plant. It needs time and care to grow. On one of those workdays, while harvesting some ripe tomatoes, Bella noticed a figure approaching. It was Jake, a tall young man with light brown hair and a look that conveyed a mix of kindness and determination. He had joined Hank on the farm, helping with whatever was needed. Bella felt a flutter in her stomach as he approached, but she tried not to show her curiosity. "Hi, you're the new ranch helper, right?" Jake asked, putting his hands in his pockets and leaning slightly forward, as if he wanted to hear every word she said. "That's me, Bella," she replied, trying to maintain her composure. "And you are?" "Jake, I've been working here with Hank for a while. He told me about you. I hope you're enjoying life on the ranch." "It's been a challenge, but I'm learning a lot," said Bella as she picked more tomatoes from the vine. "And you, what do you do here?" "I help with the harvest and also take care of the animals. Life on the farm is tough, but it's rewarding. The connection with nature, it's something you can't find anywhere else," Jake replied, looking around with a nostalgic smile. The conversation flowed naturally, and Bella discovered that Jake had a complicated life story. He talked about how difficulties had shaped him, and the young woman felt increasingly drawn to his sincerity. He shared experiences of overcoming, and Bella realized that, like her, Jake also carried scars. "I've also been through tough times," Bella confessed, looking at the ground. "I lost people I loved and saw my dreams crumble. For a while, I thought I'd never be able to get back up." Jake watched her attentively. "Life has a strange way of teaching us, but it's in pain that we find our strength. You felt lost, but now you're here, doing something you love. That's amazing, Bella." The young woman smiled, feeling understood. "That's true. I'm trying to rediscover myself. Every day here is a new chance." As the days passed, Bella and Jake began to see each other more often during work. They exchanged stories about their lives and dreams, and the connection between the two deepened. Bella felt alive again, as if the shadows of her past were dissipating, giving way to a new beginning. "Jake, have you ever thought about what it would be like to live in a different place? A place where you wouldn't have to worry about the past?" Bella asked one sunny afternoon as they worked together in a garden bed. "I have," he replied, looking at the horizon. "But the past is part of who we are. We learn from it. What matters is how we decide to move forward. And you, do you have plans for the future?" Bella hesitated, but the sincerity in his gaze encouraged her. "I want to start over, find a purpose, and maybe one day have a place I can call my own. A place where I can cultivate both the land and happiness." Jake smiled, a sparkle in his eyes. "I think you're on the right track. And remember, Bella, what you need is already inside you. Sometimes it's just a matter of digging a little deeper." His words echoed in her mind, and Bella realized that, alongside Jake, she was not only rediscovering the joy of living, but also beginning to believe that love and hope could still have a place in her heart. The sun had already risen, but the sky still held a bluish tint that signaled a difficult day for Bella. The tomato harvest, which had seemed promising, had turned out to be disappointing. With the basket nearly empty, she felt the weight of frustration hanging over her shoulders. The plants, which had been cared for with so much love, were thin and wilted, as if they too felt the sadness of that morning. She knelt, her fingers touching the dry earth, and a heavy sigh escaped her lips. Hank appeared beside her, with his worn leather boots and a serene smile. "Sometimes the land teaches us more with its failures than with its successes, Bella," he said, looking at the tomatoes. "Farming is a reflection of life. We can't control everything." Bella looked up, a mix of discouragement and curiosity. "But I expected everything to go right. I did everything you taught me," she replied, her voice choked. "It's frustrating to see so much effort go to waste like this." "I understand your pain, but look at it from another angle," Hank suggested, leaning down to examine one of the plants. "The harvest may not have been good, but you learned something valuable. You learned what works and what needs to be adjusted. The same happens with people. Sometimes we have to deal with disappointments to grow." Hank's words resonated with Bella. She thought about the lessons life had taught her in the past few months. If Rachel and David's betrayal was a deep wound, perhaps it had also been an opportunity for her to rediscover herself. "You're right," she said, with a shy smile. but it's hard to see that right now. Hank nodded, pleased with her openness. And what if you allow yourself to feel that pain? It's the only way you'll be able to overcome it. Don't be afraid to face your feelings. You're stronger than you think. After a while, Bella stood up, determined. The pain of the bad harvest wouldn't stop her from continuing. She decided she would start over, planting a new crop and dedicating herself to better understanding the land. Meanwhile, Jake appeared, with his simple clothes and a smile that lit up his sun-tanned face. He had overheard the conversation and approached, curious. "Hi, Bella. How was the harvest?" he asked, noticing the expression of frustration on her face. "It wasn't what we expected. Hank was reminding me that even failures have their value," Bella replied, as she tried to hide her sadness. Jake came closer, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Sometimes, all we need is a new perspective. I've also faced many challenges in my life. If you want, I can share a bit of my story." Bella felt an urge to open her heart. I don't know if I'm ready for that," she confessed, looking into Jake's eyes, which seemed to understand her deeply. "I still carry the scars from Rachel and David's betrayal. I'm afraid of getting hurt again." Jake nodded, understanding her fragility. "I've been through that too. Betrayal is an intense pain, but the truth is, those experiences shape us. I've learned that, no matter how painful it is, it's possible to rebuild trust, not only in others, but in ourselves." The connection between them seemed to grow with each moment. Bella felt relieved hearing Jake's story. "What happened to you?" she asked, eager. Jake took a deep breath, as if reliving difficult memories. "I was betrayed too. The person I trusted the most let me down. For a while, I let that define me, but then I realized that I deserved to be happy again." "How did you manage to move on?" Bella asked, intrigued. "With a lot of effort and time, I learned to value myself and not carry the weight of the past. When I allowed myself to open my heart again, I found someone who truly valued me," he replied, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "And I believe you can do that too." Bella was touched by Jake's words. He seemed to be an anchor amidst the emotional storm that still surrounded her. "Thank you for sharing that with me. It's good to know I'm not alone in this," she said, feeling the connection between them grow stronger. "You're never alone, Bella. We're all in this journey together," Jake assured, smiling encouragingly. In that moment, Bella knew that, despite the scars she carried, there was room for hope and healing. She allowed herself to dream again, even if only a little. The sun began to set behind the Colorado mountains, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, as Bella and Jake worked together in the field. That scene, which once seemed so distant from her reality, now became the stage for a new life full of promises. Bella felt lighter, as if the chains of the past were finally loosening. "Did you remember to water the plants on the left side, Bella?" Jake asked, with a smile that lit up his sun-kissed face. He was crouched, checking the carrots they had planted the previous week. "I did that before coming here, but I can check again," she replied, laughing with the confidence she had gained in the past few days. "I don't want you to think I'm neglecting my work." Jake stood up, stretching his tired muscles. "Don't worry, you're doing great. Every day that passes, you're becoming a true farmer." He winked at her, making her heart race. As they continued working, the conversation flowed naturally, as if they had known each other for a long time. Bella felt that she was creating a bond not only with Jake, but also with the land they were cultivating. She was learning to respect the cycle of life, the patience needed to see the fruits of her labor. "Have you ever thought about how the land can heal?" Jake asked, looking at the horizon. "When I'm here, I feel like I can leave everything behind. The problems dissipate, and only the present exists." "Yes," Bella agreed, as she tied her hair in a messy bun. "It's as if worries have no place here. Every day is a new opportunity." The connection between the two deepened with each conversation. They shared their stories, fears, and dreams. Bella felt increasingly comfortable talking about her betrayal, about Rachel and David, and Jake listened attentively without judgment. "I've also been through difficult times," Jake confessed in a soft tone. "It was a few years ago. The person I trusted the most betrayed me. It took me a long time to recover." "How did you manage?" Bella asked, curious. "I found a purpose. I worked on my father's farm for a while, and that helped me. The land taught me that life goes on, even after the storms. He paused, looking into her eyes. And you, Bella, what brings you here? I needed a fresh start. After what happened with Rachel and David, I didn't know how to move forward. I thought I could find peace here, she replied, feeling a wave of sincerity. And it seems I'm finally starting to find it. However, as the connection between them strengthened, a sudden sound from her phone interrupted the moment. Bella looked at the screen and saw Rachel's name flashing. A chill ran down her spine. Are you going to answer? Jake asked, noticing the change in her expression. I don't know. She shouldn't be calling me. Bella hesitated, but answered, Rachel's voice echoing from the other end of the line. Bella, I need to talk to you. Rachel's voice sounded anxious, almost pleading. About what, Rachel? Bella said, trying to stay calm. What do you want? I know I hurt you, and I'm here to apologize. I didn't know what I was doing. David and it was a mistake. Please listen to me. Rachel's voice was filled with emotion. A mistake? Rachel, you destroyed everything. My dream, my trust. I don't know if I can listen to you right now. Bella felt the anger and pain returning, but also an inner strength she hadn't known before. I understand, but we need to talk. Please, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to fix this, Rachel insisted. Bella took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility that was no longer hers. Rachel, I don't need your justification to move on. What you did can't be fixed with words. I'm ready to leave this behind. Jake watched her, impressed by her firmness. Bella, you can hang up, he said softly. Yes, I know, she replied, her voice stronger now. I hope you find peace, but that doesn't include my life. Goodbye, Rachel. And with a resolute movement, Bella ended the call, feeling an immense weight lift. You were amazing, Jake praised, approaching her. That shows how much you've changed. Thank you, Jake. I finally feel like I'm letting go, Bella replied, looking at the horizon again. The sun was almost setting, and she knew that, like the day, her old life was being left behind. Bella was radiant. After months of hard work and self-discovery, the opening of her organic products business was about to happen. The ranch, which had once been a refuge for her pains, had now become the stage for a new phase in her life. With Jake's help, who had supported her every step of the way, the space was decorated with fresh flowers and products carefully arranged on rustic tables. The aroma of freshly baked bread and fresh herbs filled the air, creating a welcoming atmosphere. Everything's perfect, Bella, Jake said, with a proud smile, as he arranged the last box of products. You really made it happen. I wouldn't have done it without you, Bella replied, looking into his eyes. The connection between the two was palpable, strengthened by shared experiences and a love that blossomed in an unexpected way. I still can't believe I got here. The party began, and farm friends, neighbors, and even some new customers gathered to celebrate Bella's new venture. Laughter and lively conversations echoed through the ranch, and she felt a happiness she hadn't experienced in a long time. However, the joy was interrupted when a familiar face entered the scene. David. He was accompanied by Rachel, and the sight of them together made Bella's stomach churn. Look who's here, Jake commented, noticing the change in Bella's expression. Are you okay? Yes, I am. It's just hard to see this, she replied, forcing a smile. But I can't let this ruin what I've achieved. David approached, trying to display an air of nonchalance, but Bella noticed the tension in his shoulders. Bella, it's good to see you. Congratulations on the opening, he said in a tone that sounded more formal than sincere. Thank you, David. I hope you and Rachel are happy, she replied, with a firm look. The anger that had once consumed her was now replaced by a sense of control. I'm in a good place now. Rachel, who was beside David, couldn't contain an expression of disdain. Do you really think you can just move on like this? After everything? Her voice was a cutting whisper. I've already gone through this, Rachel, Bella replied, keeping calm. Unlike you two, I'm no longer stuck in the past. The atmosphere at the party changed. Murmurs began to arise as the guests noticed the tension. Bella, seeing that the conversation was drawing attention, decided it was time to take a stand. I'm no longer the victim of your betrayal, she declared, with a firm voice that echoed through the space. I'm here to celebrate my life, and I won't let you ruin that. David, visibly uncomfortable, tried to counter. Bella, you don't have to be like this. I just wanted to talk. Talk? Bella laughed, but there was no humor in her laughter. You had your chance, and you threw it away. Now, you're here trying to reconcile? It's pathetic. However, the most impactful twist of the night was yet to come. In the middle of the argument, Rachel, overwhelmed with frustration, burst out. And you know what else? David cheated on me too. You're not the only one who was deceived. The silence that followed was deafening, and all eyes turned to David, who now looked like a boy caught in a lie. That's not true, he stammered, but the disbelief in his eyes said otherwise. Rachel's revelation shattered the facade that David had tried to maintain. Bella watched the scene, now feeling a mixture of relief and compassion. It seems that karma doesn't forgive, she murmured to Jake, who was by her side, holding her hand firmly. You deserve this, Bella, Jake said, admiring her strength. You fought hard to get where you are. Bella smiled, realizing that despite the pains of the past, she had found her place in the world, alongside someone who respected her. Yes, I do, she replied, looking toward the future. And now I'm ready to move on, for real. The party continued, but Bella knew that, regardless of what happened, she was finally at peace with herself and her new love. Sometimes, life challenges us in ways that seem almost impossible to overcome. Betrayal, with all its pain, can turn into a moment of deep personal transformation. How have you dealt with your own betrayals and disappointments? Have you allowed yourself to search within for the strength to move on and grow from adversity? Reflect on how these experiences can shape and strengthen your character. If you found any valuable insight in this video, share it in the comments. And to continue exploring more about how to face and overcome challenges, click on the video that's appearing on your screen now. In my opinion, this is one of the best stories I've ever told, and if you liked the one you just heard, you'll definitely love this other story too. So, subscribe to the channel, click on the video that's on your screen now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.